Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? Welcome to Funkatopia. I can't say Funkatopia live because, we got this. We're not live at the moment, but it's perfectly okay. Welcome to Funkatopia. I'm your host, Mr. Christopher. This is obviously the one, the only Mr. Michael Bland.
One of one. Yes, in the face.
One of one. Yeah.
Yes.
So we, even though we're called Funkatopia, as we've always talked about, the one thing we are music heads first and foremost. It's just the reality of it. And we love to have bands on that kind of go outside of the scope of what Funkatopia normally does. It's one of the reasons why we've had so many different artists on, like Thomas Dolby and Mono Neon and all these guys. That's just kind of who we are. And today is no different because we have two of the members of the band DarWin in the house. And it is actually DarWin's solo project, but the people that he's got in the mix are absolutely amazing. So let me go ahead and bring in both. I'll just bring both of them in at the same time. Yeah, first off, bring in the one and only DarWin's in the house. What's going on, man?
Yeah, look at him. There goes DarWin. Look at him, man. Look at him. He's here. All right.
Yeah.
And then the one
and you got?
Now, Michael, do you want to introduce this man? Because obviously you're very, very familiar with him. I mean, because he has done work with Jeff Beck and Big Country and Stanley Clarke and Peter Gabriel and Frank Zappa and
Toto.
Toto.
It goes on. Well, you've already done it, man. I mean, there's nothing else left to do but
all right, let's bring him in.
Get Simon Phillips on here, man. Come on.
Simon Phillips.
For this, man. Look at him. There he is. My goodness. There he goes.
All right.
Fantastic.
Man, oh man. It's so good to have you guys in here. And now, so DarWin, this is actually your project. Can you talk about how you got Simon involved with the DarWin project? Let's revisit that.
We use the DarWin name, but it's really, it started with Simon. And we started working together about 10 years ago. And, we wouldn't have DarWin without Simon. So, we could have called it Simon instead, maybe. We went with DarWin, and here we are, but questionable decision maybe, but, you live with those decisions. Anyway, so, as often happens in life, sometimes you send emails to people you don't know. And probably about 11 or 12 years ago, actually, I sent Simon an email when he was still touring with Toto, I believe, and asking him if he'd be willing to work together. And, he was very busy on the road, I'm sure, back then. But it took him probably about a year. That's my recollection anyways, to get back to me. So can you imagine sending an email to a busy person like Simon saying, hey, would you like to play together sometime? And of course, you don't hear anything. And you think, that happens in life. But a year later, actually getting the email back from Simon saying, hey, are you still interested? And with that, I went down to Los Angeles, the LA area. Simon had a studio, Phenom Recordings in Sherman Oaks, and we started playing together. And at that time, I think we just played 2 songs really, and kind of got a feel for what it might sound like. And then we just kept working on more and more songs, and that process ended up in a 3-year process where we made a double album called Origin of Species, 17 songs, about 85 minutes of music. It just kept growing, more ideas. And
cool.
I think for one of the songs I said, hey, could we maybe, do you know anyone who could play strings on our album, like do a quartet kind of thing? And he said, oh yeah, we know someone. And then the quartet became an orchestra, and probably half the songs have a quartet on them. We recorded a quartet in LA and also Iceland. So everything just kind of grew from there. And the relationship grew as well. Now we've been playing together for 10 years, and we're about to release our 5th album together called Distorted Mirror, and it's been very exciting. I mean, nonstop excitement for 10 years now.
And and Simon, talk a little bit about receiving that email and exactly what was what was contained in that email. This is an entertaining story. I love this.
Yeah, I'm lightning fast in replying to emails. 1 year, that's amazing.
You were busy. You were on the road. Come on.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. So it was around. It would have been around 2012, 2013, I would imagine. And I one of the things I love to do is production. That's something I love to make records. That's really what it is. I grew up making records. That's kind of where I started. It's funny, but after being on the road with my dad for 4 years, when I was still a kid, really, I did one show in London. I kind of fell into doing sessions because in those days, there were so many sessions around because you didn't have a drum machine. Most artists didn't have a tape recorder. Some, had a cassette player. So you needed people to make a demo. That's the thing. And so you had a whole bunch of demo studios, which in those days would have been 4-track, 8-track. So that's kind of how it started. And that's what I love to do. So I guess I must have had a folder with all these various emails who wanted to record or wanted me to produce or even play on stuff. But I was on the road with Toto quite a lot, and it was just getting a bit much because that's what I wanted to do. So it was time to end my tenure with Toto. And then that's probably when I replied to the email and said, okay, what do you want to do? And that was the start.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about this to me is that, you had mentioned that there wasn't any audio files that were attached to it. So you really didn't have any type of scope of what it was probably going to sound like. I mean, when you were reading this email, did you kind of have a little bit of a vision as to what he might have in his mind?
There were very grand ideas. Very grand. Orchestras.
I think there were some demos though, with me singing on it, I imagine. So
not at first. Then I think I asked you to send me some music, and so you sent me a couple of tracks which I thought, ooh, these are interesting. This is not kind of what I maybe would normally get. So we went back and forth a couple of times, and then decided to book some studio time at Phantom. I booked Ernest Tibbs, my bass player that plays with me in Protocol. And that was it. That was the first thing. And DarWin came down from up north, and we started. And I said, okay, this tune, right, we need to arrange this tune. And it was a chop this up, put this here, put that there, and then we started recording. And that was the whole start of it. Great.
This whole concept, I mean, we're looking at the first 4 albums, and I do actually have a picture now of Simon. I know you sent me that the newest album, which we'll look at in just a second. But the theme that's kind of going across these albums, first off, not talking about the 5 steps on the Sun album, but on the first 3 albums, who did the artwork on those?
Yeah, those are all pictures taken. That's actually me. And those are taken in the deep countryside of Iceland. I mean, so it's not really artwork. That's literally me standing on a glacier. The DarWin 3 Unplugged is that and I actually have crampons on. And it's very scary because if you slip, you'll fall down a crevice. And I actually did, and we were recording a video that goes with all this. It's a video called "Escape the Maze," one of the songs from the album. It's about a 7-minute song and a big saga. But when we were doing the video for that, I actually fell into a crevice, which was packed with snow, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, that's all real stuff. So and then to make, it was a bit of a sci-fi kind of themed album and a lot of ideas in there. So that's why there's a cape, there's the inevitable mask and leather outfit, and this is way before Dune came out, by the way. So
well, the second Dune. Because also I was going to reference, because on your website you were used to wear. Now, did you wear this suit when you guys were performing, or what?
Thank you for asking.
Where does this suit come into play?
Well, it turned out that suit is very hot to wear, and as my you get a little muscular growth, it becomes rather constricting. It doesn't really expand like you would want clothing to. So there's a lot of cables running through it. That is real. Those are real lasers there. It uses a lot of battery packs, and some of those lasers, you see the shoulder there has these like circular lasers. Can you make that out? It's kind of like a cone.
Yeah. Okay.
Those were actually built specifically for this, and they kind of spin. And The suit only made its appearance twice so far. Once in the Escape the Maze video that I just mentioned, and in another video called For Humanity, which is actually the first song on the Origin of Species album. And I'm wearing it and playing guitar at the same time. And it may appear again. It's just probably on a cooler day and when I lose a few pounds, maybe. It's fun to wear, and I got to probably look at the batteries again because it's been a while, and they've been in negative 10 degrees Celsius weather. And maybe that's 0 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. It's cold. You know, they've been in a lot of different situations. But yeah, thank you for mentioning the suit.
Michael, do you have some questions?
As far as the project goes, I don't know that much about you, DarWin. I mean, where are you from?
I don't know much about me either, actually.
Okay.
I'm originally from the North. I'm American. I'm from Northern California.
Okay. That's cool.
So when you were coming up with this project, though, and as we talked about before, you know, some of the theme that you have kind of going, you know, tell people about the original storyline and how that's kind of progressed through each one of the albums, starting with the original ones.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think for me, music writing is always a bit of, to me, there's always a story in my mind. It's always a bit Broadway. It's like instead of writing a play, I write, it always begins with instrumental music and then I'll sing over the top of it. Now we have a new songwriting process, but usually even with the new music, it often starts, it usually starts with me writing something instrumental. And there could be a lot of dramatic ideas behind it. And then Simon takes it in another direction, and Matt Bissonette, the third leg of our writing stool. Really, the three of us have been writing now for many years together. You know, Matt works on the vocals, and then his vocal work will also inform where the song goes. So the three of us now, over the past 10 years, we've been working together for about 10 years, really have a very nice writing chemistry. Yeah, my thinking is often about, I think in a very planetary sense, where are we headed as a species? What, you know, I like to ask the big questions, and I like to create a space where those questions can be asked in the music. That doesn't mean we're answering the questions, but it's like, you know, what do we feel is important in this life? And isn't it fascinating that we're all on Earth right now together, sharing this moment? And to me, I like to build those ideas up a bit and try to create a space where people can think creatively, but on their own terms. It's not that we're going to tell them how we think the world should be, but rather like, hey, let's explore existence together, you know, in a way that hopefully can be kind of universal. So yeah, that's what gets me excited about writing. Whenever I write a song, there's usually some kind of story in there. But I often don't tell Simon about it because it'll sound really weird, but that's just kind of what has always triggered songwriting for me.
I think you probably underestimate Simon's ability to absorb the strange. I get the feeling from him, and also knowing what I know about some of the people he's worked with, that can't be the strangest situation he's ever.
Yeah. Peter Gabriel, Zappa. I mean,
Simon's got to be a free thinker just to even step into that arena musically. Well, that's challenging.
So I tend to just take the music at face value because so the job of a producer is I'm not one of these producers that likes to make his solo album and the artist happens to appear on it, which I think a lot of producers are guilty of.
Sure.
To me, I come from the Phil Ramone school of producing. I only got to make one record with Phil, and that to me was just, that's how it should be.
How was it? What are the qualities of a Phil Ramone?
You create an atmosphere that makes everybody comfortable. So you got to pick the right studio, you pick the right engineer, you get the right sounds for the project, and you pick the right personnel, and then you put them all in the room and you just let them get on with it. And if there's anything you need to say, then say it. Otherwise, let them get on with it and do what they do best. To me, that was a beautiful way to produce. And when he needed to say something, he said it. It was great. Absolutely. I loved working with Phil. I wish I had done many more records with him. very laid back, plenty of time to spend with everybody. But also the job of a producer is to help the artist put all his visions and his ideas to fruition. That's, to me, that's your job, you know. And I think also, having been a session guy for many, many years, playing so many different styles of music, and this is one thing that we do in Britain, mainly because of the radio. We didn't have a radio station that only played one type of music. We only had 4 radio stations to start with, actually 3 on the BBC. So they had to play a mixture of music. And that's kind of how a lot of musicians grew up in England. They grew up playing lots of different types of music. And so you get experience of playing, you know, in one day. I could have done a session for Kenny Ball, who was a trumpet player, used to play with my dad actually in the 50s. He was a trad Dixieland player. I could have done a session with him. Then in the afternoon, I could have gone to Air Studios or CTS to do a film date for whoever it be, you know, Jerry. Oh gosh, can't think of names. And then in the evening, I would have got to Ramport to do a rock and roll session that would keep me there till 4 a.m. You know, so with the experience of playing all these different types of music, you can then follow whatever the artist wants to do stylistically, and I think that's what the job is. You know,
Sure.
I don't really. I mean, if DarWin wants to explain the whole, you know, whys and wherefore of this music, that's fine. I'll listen. But to me, the proof is in the music. That's what I'm zoning in on. And that's the first thing I do when he sends me a demo. And Matt does a whole bunch of, we work with vocals very early on. We don't wait for the vocals because you're guessing. And whenever I put a production together, I always want a singer there because I want to know, are we in the right key? Are we in the right tempo? Are we playing this the right way? You know, it's so important.
See, you're at a different level in the food chain. For me, I'm still doing sessions where I got one scratch acoustic guitar, one scratch vocal, and they go, well, it's Michael Bland. It's going to be great. And I tell them, you've given me scraps to work with.
Right.
How can I be brilliant? If you know, and people rely, I mean, as you know, as everybody in here who's been in the studio knows, until the drummer gets their take, everything is just static.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So as a producer also, I'm not anything you would have heard. I mean, I just kind of do it because I like it. Right. But yeah, it gives you a vantage point, I think, also as a drummer. That's why a lot of great producers are drummers.
Yeah, you know? That's true. Yeah.
Because you would listen from a space of like, you're already supporting the music, you know, in whatever way you see fit, you know, and people have to they kind of have to do what you say, you know what I mean? Like musically, the drum chair, you control a lot. So I think it does condition your mind to think in a larger sort of way. I mean, at least for me, I feel like that's what it's done.
The big picture. It's always the big picture. Yeah.
So I'm sure you're great. I'm sure you're a great producer. Yeah.
It's and it's really fun, but you know, getting DarWin's original demo, and he's playing everything on it, which is fantastic. And then I transcribe it all and put it into MIDI so I can move things around and stuff. And then just kind of pull it apart and put it back together, really. Reharm a lot of stuff, sometimes change keys, sometimes even do things in a very different way. And then I go out on a limb sometimes going, well, how about this? And I send it back thinking, oh, I don't know if he's going to like this or not. And then I get a call. It's like, wow, that's great. You know, most of the time, right? And then
see, that's we go from those demos where I play everything really bad and it's very real. So I'm feeling everything. I actually record with an 8-track recorder, like very cheap, the least expensive kind of way. I don't use any software at all. I just play 8 tracks physically, but I want to feel the drums. I want to feel the bass. I want to feel everything and think about it. But then Simon gets it, and when he starts working with it, then it usually goes into a MIDI version, right? The demo.
Yep.
Then it becomes like all electronic, and then he does. Simon has a way of. Simon does everything again. but now it's like electric, the guitar is all in MIDI and everything's in MIDI. And so it goes from, something that's like highly organic, I would say, and very human, very flawed, to like something that's like too perfect or too like, stiff. And then we use that and go in the studio and then we do our thing.
I got you.
Yeah.
So you run the gamut and then you guys find a place.
Yeah, it's been really digested in different directions. Matt's sung his vocals. Sometimes he sings it over the Simon's MIDI file. Sometimes he'll do it a little earlier with my rough thing where everything's being played and out of time, everything's wrong. But like, so it kind of does, it takes the best of technology and the best of just someone in a bedroom figuring it out. And by the time we're in the studio, then it can get interesting.
Sure. I'm sorry, Chris. Chris, do you mind if I keep moving?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. Yeah.
I know you guys,
Yeah, it's fine. It's all good.
I was going to ask Simon also. I mean, for me, for instance, I play drums with an American band called Soul Asylum. They had a huge hit called Runaway Train.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been in the band for like 20 years now.
Right.
When we go to the studio, I mean, I've noticed this, straight across, that sometimes it's difficult to get, if the songwriter is the singer, like sometimes the work isn't always all the way there until, a certain point. Dave Perner, he holds back as long as possible, and sometimes he's rewriting the words on the spot while he's in front of the mic,
right.
So, I mean, in your experience, have you found more people prepared to give you that or less?
I would say that doing it that way is more rare. I actually love that. I think that's wonderful. In fact, I went to see AC/DC recording once because I actually played with a band for an afternoon. It was really hilarious.
You played with AC/DC for an afternoon?
Just for an afternoon, yeah. Just in a rehearsal room. Yeah.
Was this when Phil Rudd was in the band, or was it when?
No, they were looking for a drummer to record their next album.
Was it so? Did the bald guy become the guy? I can't remember his name.
Chris took over. He was the guy that did the record. I wasn't the right man for the job.
Chris Slade, is that his name? Chris Slade, I think it was.
Chris Slade, exactly. Yeah, he was in Man's Earth Band. Great player.
Oh, that's where he's from. I saw him in the Firm with Paul Rogers and Jimmy Page when they came on tour in the States.
Exactly.
And I was like, who is that dude? He's great. He's a great drummer.
Tony Franklin and Paul and Jimmy and Chris. Absolutely. Yeah, that would have been around it was early. That was mid 80s, 85 or something, 86, I think. But Brian, they were recording over here at Ocean Way, and I was actually doing a session in one of the other rooms, and Alan Brogan, the guitar player, said, "Hey, come on in, say hello to the guys." And they were having a lunch break, so said hello to the brothers, and Brian, he grabbed me, he said, "Come." I can't understand a word he says. He's
Yeah. And you're British. What is he? Is he Scottish or Australian?
No, he's Geordie. Aussie. He's Geordie, which means he's from Newcastle.
Okay. That's where. Yeah. Now you got me.
Up north, but just before Scotland.
Okay. All right.
Very deep accent. And he was he was writing stuff as they were recording, rewriting lyrics. And I think that's wonderful, actually. But I would say that's more rare. In my experience, mostly the songs are written, mostly the lyrics are written. Obviously, when you get round to doing the vocals, there will be changes. With Matt, we're always changing because something's not singing right. It just doesn't phrase right. And you might even change a couple of notes here. So that's normal. But most of the lyrics are written beforehand, and they're pretty much done, pretty much planned. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
But everybody's different, and this is another thing about making a record. As a producer, you got to figure out what do people do best. It's like the first record I made with Toto. Now they've made many successful records.
Sure.
And I come in and I'm a new guy, and so I just sit back and I watch and listen and see where the strengths are, and then at some point I then might suggest something because I'm hearing something maybe that's a little bit different. And then we started doing that, and I ended up engineering and co-producing the Toto albums a few years later.
Sure.
Because we work very well together, and it's a process. But you've got to be adaptable. That's the thing. Not every artist is different.
Oh yeah, definitely. Was there a particular artist who challenged you in a way that was unfamiliar?
Oh, there's been a few.
I'm not trying to get you to talk. I'm not looking for dirt necessarily, but I am looking for some sense of how you handled an unfamiliar challenge.
I think that's the thing. As a session musician, you will work with some people that maybe don't quite know what they want, and so they go about it a different way until they hear it. I mean, Peter Gabriel, for example, you're never quite sure whether he's happy with what you've done because he's still thinking about it.
Sure.
Mick Jagger's a little bit like that too. Frank Zappa. Ooh, that was an interesting one. But he was he was producing an album for an Indian violinist called El Shankar, who used to play with the original version of Shakti. And he ended up playing with Peter Gabriel, played with a lot of different people. Actually. Oh yeah. So yeah, these are all challenges as a musician you have to go through. But what I've done is I think is what we all do. I take those experiences because at some point in a recording session, something will come up and you go, oh gosh, yeah, this reminds me of so-and-so, or what it was, or an experience that you had.
Yes. And then you have to decide whether you're going to run to it or away from it. Yeah.
Or even the song might remind you, oh gosh, this reminds me of that tune I did with Art Garfunkel in 1976 or whatever it is, that's what you bring as a producer too, and that's happened many times actually with DarWin's material.
Great.
That's yeah. It's always great to have that wealth of just being able to have the experience in different music genres and to be able to apply that to the new stuff as well. Because you got this new album. You did send me this, and I'm pretty sure I have it. I do. Distorted Mirror. You got the album for Distorted Mirror that's coming out September 26th, if I remember correctly. Tell me about this new album and what people can expect on this.
Can I preface that?
Yeah, absolutely.
DarWin, what I'm seeing mainly in these images is a lot of dystopian.
Yeah.
Are you designed to potentially be either dystopian or uplifting? And I always wanted to create images that can be both simultaneously. Like, are people wandering off into a nirvana, or is there something about this image that makes people uncomfortable?
Because this makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, immediately I'm like, what movie am I, about to watch? And do humans survive or don't they?
Those are really good questions right now, I think. Yeah, I mean, the question is the point, really, with DarWin. Yeah,
sure.
And I switched to this because the lower corner in 5 Steps on the Sun, that one has that. Is that an explosion? Is that a sunrise planet thing? Whereas the new one, not so much. There's nothing nirvanic, if that's even a word, about nuclear stacks. I can't,
Yeah, I'm saying, man.
I mean, unless you're
you gotta get your power to power up your AI from somewhere, right?
Okay, sure, okay,
okay, I've got it now. DarWin is the button pusher. I got you, man.
Every time you get AI, there's a cloud behind it, and then behind the cloud, there's all this power that's being generated, and then you have something that's either smoke or a tornado in the middle. I can't really make it out. What do you guys think?
And is that the sun or the moon?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. See, I've got it now. All right. Fine, fantastic, wonderful. You're going to hike up my anxiety, brother.
Well, but I really hope the music is anything but that. I mean, I think when we hear the music, we want to create it. We really want people to feel empowered, but empowered to ask really, bigger questions than maybe they normally would ask in a given day. And they don't have to go there at all if they don't want to. That's not the point, But if they wanted the music to kind of drive them to another level, we want to be there for that as well. And,
okay, so you're an enthusiast of the Rorschach test, I guess. Then
I don't know what it is, but it sounds pretty cool. I like it already.
I mean, when they show you pictures and say, "What do you see?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And
and I love that. It was so fascinating. Even just getting Mr. Christopher's feedback and your feedback now. It's like, what do you see? And it's very interesting if it's different than someone else, and every answer is right because there's shades of all that in here, right?
In a way, most good music does what you're doing. You're right. I agree with the mission.
Now you said you created this. You said you created this particular album. This is the one that's done with AI as well, or
artificial intelligence. Yeah, and the prompt is actually, it wasn't. It was more about the emotions and the nuances and the contrasting things happening in here than it was about specifying what this image should be. And it's really amazing because I think I said, make an image that showed, what do you want to say? Humanity reaching kind of the end of history kind of a thing, their nirvana, the singularity through AI, but all the ugly things that are involved in reaching that vision. It was something like that. Like it was more about the contrast and the kind of, the different angles in doing that, and then it kind of came up with this image, and you coax it a little more and talk a little more, but anyways, that was the idea. But it's about artificial intelligence and its effect in our lives. Not every song is, but there's a few songs that deal with it, including the title song called "Distorted Mirror" here. I mean, that. Okay. So, anyways, we created it with AI, so that's the idea.
I got you. Well, can I ask you how you feel about AI? Because I personally. Mostly what I feel is threatened.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about it as a phenomenon, knowing what the trajectory, what they're telling us the trajectory is? I mean, one day it's going to essentially.
It's a very good time to ask those questions. So I think it's good to be asking the question about it. Personally, I feel like all technology is just a tool. It's whatever you want to do with it. And unfortunately, a lot of technology doesn't get used for all the good things it can be used for at the end of the day. But it's really what you make out of it. And the problem with AI is that most of it is being developed in a way to make people less relevant. That's my problem with it.
That's the threat that I feel.
Yeah, it could be used for all kinds of amazing things. Of course, everyone will say it's for solving diseases and other things like that, and that should be part of it too. And hopefully, more attention is paid towards those real problems that we all share as humanity. But unfortunately, like any tool,
it's how you use it. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that makes AI a little bit more palpable in reality and a little less scary is that all AI has done is kind of like a skin over the existing internet. It's not like it knows everything. It's gotten all of its information from everything that's out there on the web right now, just on websites, on Wikipedia, on everything. And it has essentially taken that and have formulated ways to kind of describe the data that it's pulled in those question formats. So it's just getting all its information from everything that's already out there. It's not like it's this all-knowing being. That's where it's getting it. It's getting it from out there and bringing it in and making it a little bit more digestible. But I think what is terrifying about it, just like you said, is that overview that you feel like you're going to lose your job, or you feel like the coding stuff is the most terrifying about it all, which leads me to this question. How much of the computer technology and stuff are you utilizing in the recording of this new album? I mean, are you how much production is being,
Well, not only that, what I find fascinating is that he's kind of a futurist, but he does his demos on an 8-track.
Yeah, I saw that too.
My involvement is actually, I am the most technology light person that I know. Like I don't use any software at all when I write. It's all like you just said, on one of those simple 8-track units that it maybe has just the monochrome little display, $200, $150. I've always recorded with those kind of units. Back in the old days, it was a 4-track with the tape in it. Growing up.
Boss and whatnot.
And so the question about technology really goes to Simon, because I think we're very we're very analog. We use a lot of we use Leslie's and things like that, right? Simon, why don't you take it from there?
Yeah. Also, we record. Well, one of the big things for me making records these days is a lot of people are making records on their own. In other words, everybody that plays on the album, they're doing it in an isolated way. They're not in the same room. So here's one of the problems. A lot of sessions that I get, when I say sessions, Pro Tool session or Logic or whatever it is, you know how many 120 BPM?
50%.
It's like nobody knows how to change the tempo in Pro Tools.
Right.
80%.
It's a default. Yeah, it's a default BPM in like most all DAWs.
It is. And the problem is that may not be the right tempo for the tune. And it drives me nuts. And I can tell instantly when well, first of all, I open the session, all I have to do is look at the waveform. I go, oh dear. Gain structures out of the window, So I have to spend, maybe sometimes even a couple of hours just getting the session so it's playable, so you can put a pair of headphones on and it's not going to blast your ears off or distort or whatever it is. And then the next thing is, okay, maybe write a little chart and then start playing. And as I'm playing, I'm going, this is just not the right tempo for this song. Sorry, but it's wrong. And often I will go, I'll probably send an email and said, are these other instruments final or are you going to redo them? And I get the reply back. So no, we'll track everything to you. I said, great. Hope you don't mind. I'm going to change the tempo. Right. So I do time X form and time stretch or compress. And we've done this a few times, actually recording DarWin songs, because we do a take and I'm going, guys, let's try this a couple of BPM slower. This is not set.
BPM sometimes, right? Yeah.
And Mohini and DarWin are there. Oh, okay. So I disappear. And this is one of the reasons, actually, we only do one take and I go and listen. And Mo is like going, well, can't we just do it again? I said, no, I want to make sure that, first of all, I've got everybody's sound right. Is this the right snare drum sound for this song? Does the bass sound right? Is the guitar the right sound? Sure. But mostly it's more to hear, what I'm hearing in the headphones and playing, is that really right? In other words, am I feeling it in the wrong way? How does the listener do? So I go in and I take a quick listen. I go, no, I was right. This is at the wrong tempo. This doesn't feel right. So that's one thing that's very important. It's very organic. And I'll do that on a lot of sessions. I'll just go and find a tempo that works, even 1 BPM. And I know it just sits right. Record in a real studio. So we have the studio we've been using is actually a place in Switzerland, and they have a beautiful old 4000 series SSL, but it's been heavily modified. It has Studio mic pre's in all the channels.
Oh wow!
So it's more like working on a Neve, really, with the usability of the SSL. Really, I'm only using it as input because we're going into Pro Tools. And I use a very specific converter. You can probably see it there. It's a Burl mothership. So having grown up and becoming an engineer in the analog world, you get used to tape machines, and I find a lot of the converters just a little cold in sound. So by using that particular converter, it has transformers. It's a little warmer. So there's all that stuff. So it's a very un-AI way of making a record. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
I use old techniques to get a certain sound on a kick drum or a snare drum or a guitar, because I remember Ken Scott doing something here, I remember, all these wonderful engineers, Dennis Mackay, he did this, or Elliot Steiner. I remember he did this with the vocals, It's all that's it's just basically it's very analog in approach, but using today's technology, as in Pro Tools, as in digital converters and stuff, but still the signal path from the instrument to Pro Tools hasn't changed in 100 years. It's still a microphone.
I've got it.
A ribbon, or whether it's a condenser or dynamic, it's just a magnet.
If it sounds good, it is good.
Cable, a mic tree, which hasn't changed. I've got some 8 Neves up here, which are modern, but same components as the old ones, as the older 1073s. Up until the time it hits the converter, it's still, we've been recording like that for years. So that's where that's my concept.
Great. It sounds reliable.
Yeah. And it's warm, and there's just something about it. It's lovely. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And I know that I asked you guys this previously, but I kind of want to recap on this too, about what bands you feel like DarWin is most comparable to. And I think, Simon, I want to start with you, because you when you named your influences, they were very, very different from DarWin. So I'm kind of, let's start with you again.
Well, wait, I want to hear the influences first.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just start. What influences do you feel like are best comparable to what DarWin's doing?
Oh boy, I mean, there's a lot in there. Now you put me on the spot, because now I have to start really recalling. I mean, there's influences of modern bands like Dream Theater.
Okay.
Everything.
Really. And I think you had named Yes. Yes, you had named.
Well, then there's the older influences like Yes, Genesis, Gentle Giant.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? It really depends where the music's going. Some of this, the new material we're doing at the moment, it's actually, I feel it's a little bit more, in a way, a little more experiment. They're more like little suites as opposed to just one song, because there's a whole middle section that comes. I don't even know where it came from. In fact, I was just trying stuff out, and I thought, wow, this is very Relayer, John Anderson type vocal.
Oh, wow. Okay. Pull out Relayer. That's probably the least known Yes record of all of them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, so I did a demo. In fact, I'm singing on it, which is really bad, but it was just to get the idea out. And I sent it back to Darwin. I thought, well, I wonder how this is going to go down. And he loved it, So it's there's many.
Well, that features Simon Phillips on vocals, if you're referring to what I think you're referring to.
Yeah.
So that's something in the next album. That's a coming album after this one.
But, no, that's a whole. This is the stuff we're working on at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's in the lab still.
So is it just Matt Bissonette that's doing the primary lead vocals, or because you guys have like a crazy amount of harmonies that listening in some of the previous albums, you spent a lot of time on harmonies.
Yes.
How would you explain this album as far as the vocal structure with Matt involved? And
it's all Matt, and it's a lot of harmonies from Matt. And since we first started working together, that was a really important part of working with Matt. He started playing with us and singing with us from 2015, and harmonies were always important to our sound. It's a little bit, there was some heavy metal names like Dream Theater mentioned, but there's also very much almost kind of like a Beatles angle, or I always thought of it as kind of like Beach Boys and Metallica. Like if the Beatles kind of got an attitude and started playing in 5, then maybe you get DarWin, and a lot of distortion or something. That's kind of what I was going for. It really drew me to Matt. I know he's a really big Beatles fan, kind of sometimes almost sounds a little bit like a John Lennon. And I always wanted that. I always wanted like the power of those harmonies combined with the power of electric guitar, which I play, that. And then of course the power of drumming, what Simon can do and how he drives beat, and then the power of bass players, not only Matt, but also Mohini Dey now, and everything pushing, but actually done in a way where it's very tight and orchestrated and organized. And but the harmonies were always a really important part of that.
Yeah. We also get so Matt does most of the harmonies, and he's the one that really comes up with the intervals, and it's a wonderful talent at doing that. But also, just from a sonic point of view, I need another voice in there, different timbre. So Jesse Siebenberg, who does a lot of the he does acoustics, he does all the strange instruments. There's a lot of slide stuff, and it's really cool because it's something you would never expect in a more of a heavy track. You'd never expect to hear that, but the way he makes it work is just so cool. It's beautiful. So I have him come over, and he does all the high notes. So he'll double all of Matt's high notes. Sometimes I take Matt out, so it's just Jesse doing those. So it gets a nice feeling, but it's very powerful. It's lovely.
And Matt's wife actually sings with us too. Her name's Shreya, and there's a song on our most recent album called "What Do We Know." She sings this really amazing, kind of like a solo type part at the end with Matt, bit gospel, really powerful. She does some great vocal work as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Wow. And the newest single that's out right now is "Man versus Machine."
Yeah.
You can see it's the theme is there. The theme is not going anywhere. Yeah.
I'm yes, well aware.
And
I won't get to sleep tonight.
and you've got there's another single that's going to be that's coming also very, very soon. What was the name of that one?
Loophole. It's called Loophole. That drops on Friday, July 11th. So it may already be out by the time this gets out.
Yes.
That's another song from the album. I think that's a long one. That's almost 7 minutes long. And that's, as Simon was describing, some of our songs are kind of a bit of a journey. We take our time with that. It really grows and builds and goes in some different directions.
Wow. And well, I am so looking forward to hearing this brand new album that comes out September 26th. Here is the album cover again. Simon, thank you so much for sending this to me. DarWin Distorted Mirror. And man, it's going to be another journey. How many tracks are we looking at, or has that even been fully decided?
45 minutes. So yeah, the average song is a bit longer. And the song, they can be long. And if you hear the first minute, that doesn't mean that's where the song is going to end up. So, just buckle in and enjoy it. We want to make really great songs that can last for decades. We want to make an album that really can stand on its own as a great experience. So, it might be a little bit of an old school thing, but we love it for people just to load it up and kick back and enjoy the ride.
Oh yeah. I think people are more ready for that sort of thing now than they have been for a while. I mean, the popularity of vinyl alone, to me, tells me that like people are starting to resist, whatever that thing is that just spits out pablum and streams it. There's a small revolution going on, I think. Hopefully,
especially a lot of young people like in their 20s actually are really into vinyl. They love it. They're kind of fascinated by it. They can't really quite believe that it's purely mechanical. That's the thing about vinyl. It's a mechanical medium. If you turn the volume down, put the pickup on the thing, and put your ear to it, you can hear it. It's great. It's all produced. It's electromechanical. It's a wonderful way, and it just I don't know. I love when I do a record and I get it mastered for vinyl, and I listen to those. They're 10 to 12 dB quieter for a start, but there's just something about them. They're more pleasurable to listen to. That's all I can say.
I mean, I'm sure there's a science. There's something about it that maybe we don't know, but frequencies and whatnot. They've already, all the talk about like 432, kilohertz versus, 440, and how, it affects the nerve center differently at this frequency. Then you can really get into all that, man. I'm sure there's a reason why it just feels better.
Hey, Michael, last time Simon and I were talking, he mentioned that there was a vinyl album that when you started it, it played one
Oh yeah.
album or one side of music, but then then there may be another time that you play that exact same side of the album would have played another band. It was like two bands on one side, but depending on where the needle landed, it may play one album or it may play the other, depending on where it starts, because it just sits in the groove all the way through.
Really?
Do you know? Yeah, I had never heard of that, and I didn't know if you had I have to research this like as soon as we get off. It was pretty amazing.
The all I remember is like the 2-on-1. Like that's the closest reference I got is like the cassettes. I had a cassette of Dirty Mind that had Controversy on the opposite side.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I think there was also, speaking of, yes, there was one that had Fragile on one side, and I can't remember the record on the opposite side, man. But those 2-on-1 cassettes that used to come out.
Yes,
that's my nearest reference. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, what's I'm trying to remember the one that had Owner of Lonely Hearts on it.
903.
That's 901. 90. Yeah,
901.
Was that the album you were talking about? That was
no. Fragile is, these are like 270s. I think it was Closer to the Edge. It was like
the Edge. Yeah,
Fragile and Closer to the Edge on the same cassette. And I was like, how did they do this? Yeah. How is this possible?
Yeah.
So I was confused by that. So whatever you're talking about now, I'm out of the pool, man.
Yeah. Well, now have you considered doing these DarWin albums, even the ones prior, on vinyl? Is that even in consideration?
We've done it. We 5 Steps on the Sun is available on vinyl.
Oh,
what didn't we do vinyl on?
The second one, Frozen War actually has DarWin 2 and the Unplugged album on the that's a double album.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll probably do a distorted mirror as well. Yeah. It's just vinyl. It takes a long time. Turnaround time is a couple of months now. And
the first pressing can be awful, terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of you got to do a lot of quality control.
Yes.
I get sent. I think I get sent 6 test copies of one vinyl just to listen to and just to go through. It's a process. It really is. But it's beautiful and you can actually read the cover because the print's not too small.
Right. you don't have to put your bifocals on to see it. Yeah. I got to have a short bonus round with Simon. A few just because I know this is about to be over in a second.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
But I first off, let me just geek out for a minute. What kind of heads are you using in the studio now?
Ones I've been using for the last 50 years. Remo Ambassador Clear.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. Right on. On the bottoms and tops?
Bottoms and tops. Same weight. Bottoms and tops.
Yeah. And you're still with Tama?
Oh, yeah. Nearly 50 years.
No, that's sad. You're the Black Billy Cobham, man. With they had somebody for everybody. They had you and Billy. Like, where do they get all this hardware from? How are they setting this up? As a kid, man, my mind was blown, man. Trying to figure it all out. All right. That's all I wanted to know about with the drumming. But Stones or Beatles?
Stones.
All right, man. Yes. Okay. Wow. I always like to ask a Brit.
That's interesting. Yeah. No, and in those days, in the early 60s, it was very much that way too. You were either Beatles fans or Stones fan. And I was not actually a big Beatles fan, funnily enough. Now, obviously, the many songs I love, but I was just not a Beatles fan. I was a Stones fan because it was grungier, it was more bluesy, and I grew up in a jazz household. So the first people I was listening to was Ellington, Benny Goodman, Count Basie. I mean, that's what I grew up on, playing with big bands. Yes. So. Because my father was a Dixieland clarinet player. He had his own band.
That's right. You did say something about that.
And that's why. So I needed that. I guess at first I just needed that groove. That's
okay. Because I'm thinking that some of McCartney's work is not that far off. I mean, it's a little vaudevillian, a little like some of,
yeah.
It's all of a sudden you hear an oboe, you hear this, you hear that.
Yeah.
So I would think that maybe just because of your background, you might be more endeared to the Beatles, but I'm
Stones.
surprised.
Yeah.
People ask me, and I say the Kinks.
Oh, I love the Kinks too.
Me too. I love the Kinks more than either of those other bands. And I feel like Ray Davies really caught a bad deal,
Yeah.
So
no,
I love the Kinks, man. I think
great music. Oh yeah, they're doing wonderful.
Wow, fact, I'm so happy we agree, man.
We got I was in a band called 801, and we only did one live record. That's the whole history of the band, really. We only ever played 3 shows. It was a strange band. It was Phil Manzanera on guitar, Brian Eno on keyboards, Francis Monkman on keyboards. He was in a band called Sky. Lloyd Watson on the second guitar. He was kind of a blues player.
Okay.
And Bill. Bill. Gosh, I can't get his name quite now. He used to play with Soft Machine and and another band. Oh gosh, and we did a cover. One of the songs we did was a cover of "You Really Got Me."
Okay,
and it's really cool. Yeah,
right
Kinks, Yeah,
I would love to hear Brian Eno's take on a Kinks song. For sure.
Yeah,
it's a great album. 801 Live, recorded in 1976.
Okay,
it's a kind of it's really cool.
And in my little cluster here, because I'm an avid fan of 70s British sitcoms.
Wow!
I watched everything. I watched Butterflies. I watched Reginald Perrin, Blackadder, all the Python, To the Manor Born.
Wow!
It's all, and Faulty Towers, of course.
Faulty Towers, of course.
Unbeatable.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I've always kind of I want to ask questions about what shows did you gravitate towards, or was it so limited a choice that you just watched everything?
That's what you would do, actually. Yeah, I mean, we had 2 radios, 2 TV stations, BBC, ITV, and then BBC 2 came out towards the end of the 60s. But yeah, I mean, when I first saw Monty Python's Flying Circus, I went, "What is this? This is so wacky," And then Faulty Towers, fantastic, and Dad's Army. I don't know if you did you ever see that one?
We never got that one on public television over here.
Oh, that's a shame. Dad's Army was great. It was about the Home Guard, during the war. Hilarious, absolutely hilarious. I mean, there's so many, Doctor Who.
Oh,
of course.
Well, when the dude with the Tom with the afro.
Oh yes,
when he was on,
but
I got so used to seeing him when they changed up, I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah. Well, I remember the original one, William Hartnell, who was the first Doctor Who.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Yeah,
it's great.
Great. Okay, I just wanted to fan out and get my British on with you for a hot minute. Fantastic, man. Well, wait a minute, Simon. I just began to understand through the process of this interview that you're a multi-instrumentalist. So what all do you play?
I own keyboards. I'm not going to say I play them.
You're one of those guys. I'm sure he's blazing and he doesn't want to tell anybody.
There's a very good Simon Phillips keyboard solo at the beginning of the song on our first album, For Humanity. And we've actually been criticized on YouTube a few times. Someone saying, "Why didn't you give the keyboard player any credit? Like, what's wrong with you guys?" And maybe they thought it was Derek Sherinian or someone else. I was like, "Oh gosh, maybe we forgot. That's Simon, guy. It's pretty cool." Like, all right. Imagine the soloist is Simon at the beginning. That's really cool. Simon
Hammer impersonation. That's all.
Well, your studio looks incredible. A friend of mine actually did a session at your studio one time. His name is John Fields, and I believe it was a session for a song that he either co-wrote or wrote with a guy named Blue Macaulay. It was a song they were writing for Adam Lambert.
Oh.
And I literally told John, I'm on with Simon Phillips. He said, dude, my hero. I did a session at his place once with Blue. And I'm like, okay.
That was probably the studio that I had in Sherman Oaks.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
We recorded all the early DarWin records.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you located now?
So I'm actually in Ojai, California now. So this is my home studio.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
it's a nice one.
It's just from what we can see, it's yeah.
No, it's lovely. Yeah.
Well, what an honor having you guys on here. Looking forward to this brand new album that's coming out, DarWin Distorted Mirror, hitting the waves September 26th. By the time you guys see this video, you can visit funkatopia.com/DarWin, and it will take you to all the places where you can pre-order this album that's going to be dropping. And of course, if you want to stay up to date, Instagram.com/OOSDarwin is the best place for all the up-to-date information. And of course, their main website, darwin.is.
All right. I like you, DarWin. I'm gonna vet you, man. I'm gonna get into your business and get back at you.
Yeah,
I got your email address now, so I want to figure out where you're coming from, man. Yeah,
it's all in there.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for DarWin. Simon Phillips.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
So happy I got to get in on this. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. Yeah, great to meet you both, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. I started working with Jeff in 1978, and we started recording for There and Back. And then we went to Japan with Stanley Clarke. It was Jeff Beck, Stanley, Tony Hymas, and myself.
Yeah.
And we did a tour there. We did some European dates in '79. Then we finished the album in 1980, and then we did the There and Back tour.
Okay. I got you now.
Yeah.
I was also going to ask, like, how did that whole thing with Pete Townshend happen with like White City? Because I mean, that was when I was really like, who is this bad dude on TV whooping ass like this, man? Just on MTV, and he's clearly better than any other drummer I've seen on MTV. Like, what is this? You know? how, could you tell me how that happened?
Yeah, I mean, Pete just basically booked me for a session for his Empty Glass album.
Oh, that's right. You were on like Let My Love Open the Door and all that.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All of that.
I got it.
And that was 1979. And he had heard me play on another record, Gordon Giltrap record, who was like a folk guitar player, but he had a hit in like 1977 or 78. And Pete just happened to see that and saw me playing. Oh no, heard me playing, because actually I didn't do Top of the Pops, which was a TV show back then in England.
Sure, I actually was on it in the 90s. I know.
Rich, so you know about it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't do it, but there was another drummer. It might have been Ian Mosley, who now plays with Marillion, who had to mime to my part. But Pete heard it and went, "Hang on, who's this?" And then he tracked me down and called me to do these sessions for Empty Glass for that album.
I got you.
And then ever since then, we worked together, you know.
I'm sorry, I just had one more question. Because at least in the video for Let My Love Open the Door, it's some black guy on the bass. But,
Tony Butler.
Okay, by the time you guys got to White City, you got Pino, who is how did that even happen? Like, at what point did Pino get involved in the process?
Actually, you know what? I don't think it was until we recorded Give Blood, which was a session that was never supposed to happen, because I turned up a week early, apparently.
Okay. The drumming on that song is it's a masterpiece, man. It was an accident. It was accidental. It just was.
It was kind of accidental because Pete had booked me a week before, and he was supposed to be writing with Dave Gilmour, and suddenly all my drums started turning up. I hadn't even got there yet, and Chris Thomas, the producer, said, "Why are Simon's drums arriving? He's not supposed to be here till next week." And Pete went, "Oh shit, I think I booked him on the wrong day." So Pete had to then go find a demo, of which was Give Blood. And so we had no bass player. He called Rabbit, the keyboard player, who lived quite close, said, "Come over to the studio, come and play." So it was just Pete on acoustic, Dave on electric, and Rabbit playing some chords, and that was it. And Pino overdubbed his part.
Okay, and I gotta say, of course, I had the record,
right?
But the live performance that they kept playing on MTV constantly, it kicks the record's ass all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish the intensity of that gig could have been on the record somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it's brilliant. I'm just saying, it's like, if I had my druthers, it's like, no, let me just go watch that, because it sounds incredible. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
And as an audience, it's just a more engaging thing to.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, when you're recording, it's a blueprint. I always think the recording's kind of a blueprint. And you never really know what you're doing. You're just kind of doing it. But then when you start relearning the song and rehearsing it and then playing it,
you find different possibilities. Yeah. That's why Prince's concerts were always better than his records, because he really was like, it's got to be better than that. However good the record was, he was aiming for something else.
Yeah. Oh boy, wasn't he just?
How about that?